sustainability is the topic of this panel. And I also know, and we generally have a feeling that sustainability is something we discuss at almost every forum, at every occasion. And yeah, it's probably an over-discussed topic. However, my personal opinion is a little different. Yes, it's been discussed. Yes, there are solutions. And yes, we've implemented quite a bit. But there is an opportunity for us to do some kind of fact-finding, checking, and an audit, so as to speak. It's not a very professional audit, but just a look at what we've been doing and what impact it's had. There has been no quantification and no serious outlook as to where we have reached and what we have achieved through all our efforts in sustainability. Whatever design principles, whatever technologies we've implemented and spent money on, what accrual of benefits we've had. So we are going to be discussing that, and you'll see in the panel are people who have been from the building construction developer industry. They're the developer community who actually foot the bill, and then they're the ones who are faced with the end result. So we want to get their perspective and how they have been looking at it and exactly what has changed. Sustainability has been around for quite a while. So what has changed in their mindsets? So without much further ado, but just to give you a simple background, in 2015, UN had constituted a body to sit down and set sustainability goals. And that time, in 2015, we had 17 sustainable goals. They are called Global Sustainable Development Goals, or GDSGs. Out of those 17, which even I am not entirely aware of all 17, I know 2 which are very relevant to us. One is development of sustainable communities and smart cities. It starts, and the clear focus is from community to city, because it has got to be scalable. Whatever we do in terms of implementing and building sustainable communities is what's got to be scalable to the city level, and it'll capture everything in between. The second thing which caught my eye is responsible consumption and production. It is not the other way around, responsible production and then consumption, because it's consumption which will drive production. If you have irresponsible consumption, production will have to somehow meet the demands. Sustainability goals will get sidelined, and you are going to be, obviously, they'll do whatever is required in order to meet demands and achieve their deadlines. So keeping these 2 aspects in mind, the panel discussion is only going to be focusing on how we are to achieve and where we stand today and what we are looking for in terms of the future. So I'm just going to focus on the first question, which is a general question to everybody. Is, in the context of sustainability, what is the approach that you all have, all of you as developers, as the, the final decision makers of a project? And, towards, and all these, are they focused on all the processes of the project, which is right from design and planning, construction, and operations? Or is it only specific to design and planning?
So thank you, Prashant, a wonderful question. So let me add a context to it. See, sustainability per se, if you say, today we owe this planet to our future generations. As we have received it, we have used it, but we have abused it. So we have to leave this planet for the future generations. And whatever you are seeing, the climatic change and this thing for our own growth, this thing also, we need to take care of this planet. So that's how the sustainability is getting.
Are you all being able to hear? I'm getting a little.
Is it audible?
Okay, sure.
Yeah. So that's how, there is a stress on sustainability and this thing. Now let me add a context to the developmental work that's happening. See, sustainability in developmental works is happening at 2 levels. One is the self-imposed, whatever developer is doing for the sustainability. And second is, there is a regulatory impact also which will come very soon. So there will be two. There has to be, people, if somebody today is doing, maybe he is doing of his own accord, but tomorrow, not far away, I may say next 6 months, this will be it will be regulation, which will be the sustainability works we have to carry. So for that, Government of India, they have given in a COP 26 what they gave, that by 2030 will be 50% net zero. And by 2070 will be 100% net zero in terms of energy efficiency, because that's a major guzzler for, that's a major factor for sustainability. Now, when we say most of the countries in the world will achieve this net zero by 2050.
Okay.
So India being large, vast, we started later. So perhaps, our commitment is still 2070, but it will prepone. But very soon we'll see because drafts are already running, very soon we'll see the regulatory framework coming for sustainability. Now, coming back to your question, now sustainability, as I said, now it is per se, it is of our own accord or it's for the regulations. Now, today, whatever buildings are being done, because today the end customer is also looking for a product, for a building, which is a sustainable. So which has a particular, there is like a green building framework. Now, whether it's IGBC or LEED or this thing, so that's irrespective. But there is a certain framework. So all the buildings, what are being constructed now, I'm talking with reference to the commercial office buildings. So most of the buildings are getting today built for this, within this framework, with the green building framework. So it starts right from the design. So there's no question about whether it's being so, all the simulations are being done. So what all needs to be taken care, what is during construction, what is to be taken care through design, say, what is to be taken care through construction, and what is going to be taken care through the building life, through the service life of a building. So all those factors are being considered as we go into deeper. So I'll give you the factors, what all we consider for even for designing of what all the parameters we take it for this thing. Yeah. So you can add, yeah.
So we'll come to the roadmap of your approach to these. What are the key factors, how you approach them subsequently? Yeah, Pranav.
Thanks, Ruchir, and wish you all a very cool afternoon. One of the hottest days of the year so far in Mumbai. And interesting subject of sustainability. At L&T, we have a very specific thought process that when we talk about sustainability, it has to attack three major components of sustainability. First and foremost, of course, as we know, environmental issues. Second, economic viability. And third, social responsibility. Because unless all the three factors have been thought of together and implemented, the sustainability of the concept itself gets challenged and doesn't continue to be prevailing for a longer.
Oh boy.
Okay, fine. So I'm sure we all woke up today with the news very clearly appearing on the front page that Dubai airport is flooded with water. Unprecedented rains and crazy situation. People getting down from the flight actually had to walk through the water to get into the airport. And this is where sustainability from environmental factor is really pointing a finger to us. Are we doing enough? Are we doing the right thing which is required? And at what pace we'll have to now go further ahead? So as rightly said the context by Ramanji, at L&T, we certainly believe that whatever efforts are taken, they should be taken on a systematic long-term basis with a very clear SMART goals set up. When we say SMART goals in terms of specific goals, measurable, achievable actually, reliable, and then finally time-bound. Because everything idealistically put out there without a time and cost factor really doesn't mean a lot to the final results. So yeah, we certainly believe in setting those goals first. But at the same time, being very, very specifically clear about the social responsibility as well, as one of the largest engineering organization, this factor has been given a substantial additional impetus, where for any project or any specific initiative on sustainability once we start, we usually start with incorporation of all the thought process of all key stakeholders, which definitely includes the contractors who are going to actually do it, the designers who are going to impact it the most. But then equally important, the local community, where we actually going to implement this particular thing.
Great.
Because without their involvement, without their benefits and their specific issues getting resolved, the real justice to sustainability somehow doesn't get continued for a longer period. So these two critical things are definitely done, particularly in the starting of the particular project. As Raman sir rightly said, that yes, the context is set on this background, but then the actual advantage of our actual implementation of this thought process happens when we start executing. So execution stage starts only after the key parameters have been clearly defined in terms of what are the construction processes they are going to get followed.
So we'll come to that a little later, Pranav.
Sure.
But I like the fact, and I just want to recap very quickly, the three key areas that you have identified at L&T Realty is: one is the environmental goals, second is financial goals and financial viability, and the third is the social impact of the people who are going to get affected by the project and their integration into that. That's really great. So the fourth aspect, of course, in this will be the overlay of the structure which the government regulations will set, which is what Raman was talking about. So there'll be now 4 aspects to your decision making. Anil, you've been with Piramal Realty and you've been at the forefront of some of the highest end projects, Gulita itself. So I know for a fact that there were a whole lot of sustainability criteria. The family itself was very, very focused on it, and they didn't want everything 100% air conditioned.
Yep.
There were varying requirements, and I know we were talking about how to have natural ventilation integrated into it and still mitigate the effect of humidity, because we've got high humidity. You know. Can you throw some light on what you have kept? I mean, there must have been a standardized, some general approach to all the projects in Piramal Realty. And in that, what were the key, what was your approach, and then the key focus areas?
What I would first start with is regarding sustainability. I actually take Raman sir's point there, saying that sustainability, when you put it as measurable, everybody started achieving it, be it IGBC, be it LEED, correct? But was it limited to that? So it is moved further. So where it has moved is rightly put by Pranav also is regarding that. It is ESG now that is being spoken about. Environment, then governance. These are the ones which are missing out of the thing, correct? So these are the ones which social responsibility, that's E, S and G. So if we have to broaden this parameter, if we want to make that measurable and make it more legible to people, I think that will drive the whole thing faster. Otherwise, if you leave it to the individuals, it's going to take a little bit longer. On the question that you had on the approach parameter for the projects that they were thinking, of course, the family was very intent on following because their motto was doing well and doing good. It's not only for themselves, but for everyone involved. So that is something which came out very clearly right from the concept. We were involved, you were involved in that thinking. So right from choosing of the design itself to the materials, everything went through scrutiny. So the approach was totally different of how they wanted to do it. And the wherewithal they could do it was basically because it was not a profit-making thing.
Exactly.
That helped it a lot. But you need to look at financial goals, you need to look at sustainable goals, and all of it coming together. That's when it'll probably make an impact, is what I would think.
Great, great. So yes, in the end result, it is all supposed to come together. So first thing is we are looking at setting the sustainability goals, putting the contexts in place, then having a measurability structure. And this has got to be done by the project owners and people who are at the decision making end. Everyone else will just come and plug into the whole system and process. So design stage, design professionals will come in. During the planning and operations, project implementation stage, you'll have the PMC companies come in and the construction companies. And then you have the O&M stage, so that's the third thing. So the measurability, Pranav, I'll come to you because we discussed this a little bit, touched upon it before the panel started. So I'll give you that opportunity first. How are you, factoring the measurability from the O&M part of it? Because you do have owned assets, assets which are entirely owned. You have put in sustainability features, design features, technologies. How far have they been working? What have they been doing? Is there some kind of a data collection which is happening?
Sure, I think that's a very relevant and very important thing which is done in real life actually. So as I said, like when we started with a specific initiative in sustainability, and that too, we also very proudly, I'll claim here for this forum, that we consciously selected steel structure to be a major input in terms of our sustainability initiative. So we've already executed our own headquarters at Powai using steel structure. But yes, in terms of sustainability for a long-term perspective, as you rightly said, important part was to put systems which could provide us a continuous monitoring and help enhance it over a period of time on the basis of the feedback being received. And that's why we went for smart building solutions. We specifically used building automation solutions. We used AI definite solutions particularly, and machine learning is something also equally important to us. So having a pretty good background, particularly even in one of the group companies, we have implemented solutions pertaining to power over Ethernet. One very good example I'll give you. So like in a commercial building of almost 15 lakh square feet of total construction, the bill would be typically coming to an average of almost 11 rupees a square feet. So that would be somewhere around 1.5 crore a month and 18 crore a year. Now, this is something we attacked. As you said, sustainability, yes, we certainly believe in sustainability. So there has to be a solution, and what technology, how it can really help implementing the solution. So we worked on power over Ethernet for specifically sensors, the critical sensor in all open areas, on IP telephony, and a couple of other areas. The advantage that we were anticipating was that using that, there would be a continuous control over the usage of the power for these specific requirements. At the same time, improvisation over the overall efficiency of this particular systems as well. To tell you the truth, we have actually got a fantastic advantage of almost 22% saving on overall.
So I was just about to ask you any surprises after you did the monitoring, because you would have initially calculated what will be your peak load, what will be your operational load, your average, the diversified load, and ultimately actual consumption. So you're saying actual consumption was 22% on average across the year lower than what we had calculated.
We were anticipating somewhere around 20 to 25, and actually 22 was received by us. Yeah.
Wow, that's great. So Raman, any examples that you have on any of your projects? Because I know K Raheja Corp has a lot of asset holding.
See, as far as buildings, office buildings are concerned, we had assets which were old, there were assets which are under construction. So obviously the theme is, looking for more sustainable buildings where there are existing assets, how to retrofit them, how to make them sustainable. So the biggest factor obviously is the energy. So how to make them energy efficient. The biggest guzzler is today the chiller. HVAC is the biggest guzzler. So chiller. So putting a high performance chillers, getting them converted, pumping systems, because putting a variable drives in the pump. Again, the same thing, building automation, because that's going to be a big thing. We almost implemented 95% of our buildings are building automation. So the economy, obviously energy saving, whatever we are getting in that, it is humongous. As he said, 22, our data is not varying much with that. So we have a similar. So these are all old assets which are there. But as far as new buildings are also concerned, the focus is absolutely on energy conservation. That's going to be a big thing. Years to come, energy conservation, using renewable energy, making buildings, efficient in energy. That's going to be the key to the whole thing. Facade, obviously, that's trying to see how we can, facade is obviously one element. But more today, it is to do with, it's not a temperature control, it's more to do with the comfort feeling inside.
Yeah.
As you rightly said, today if people are focused, if we can allow the natural air to come in. Somebody spoke about Galita. So it's a fact. Today, at the end of the day, comfort feeling is a function of, temperature, relative humidity, and air movement. So now the focus is purely not HVAC. We want to have, good HVAC system. The focus is on I have seen offices now where they're using actually fans, which was not.
It was not thought of earlier.
Was not thought of.
Yeah,
So
naturally ventilated with fans.
Putting fans in a slow speed. Though there is a little bit of temperature control, but people are trying to get there. It's ultimately happening. It's happening real time over here. And now we have a real time data. We get an accumulation of a real time data for energy savings. That's the one. The second thing is, as I said, there's a framework of green buildings now, whether you get it rated as platinum or silver or gold, whatever it is. So though obviously we are now, the new age buildings, we are looking for a platinum rated buildings. So obviously there is some rigor is there in that. But at the same time, we're looking at the wellness of the building. So there is a wellness certification also, which is for the occupants of the building. So sustainability has extended its definition. So
I'm just going to ask you something because it just triggered my head. So I am itching to ask you. Sure. You said about platinum, leads, silver. Now, all these rating systems, has there been a correlation done, let's say, with wellness? So maybe, is it a silver rated building has a wellness factor, gold has a higher wellness factor, platinum has a still higher wellness factor? Is that correlation done? Also, just one more thing. Also, to that extent, what's the end impact on your goals that you have set? So, Pranav, for example, you have your 3 goals already set on environment, on financial, and on society. So, how do these ratings correlate to those goal sets? To what extent do they contribute? Is it a LEEDs platinum rated building contributing more to your goals, or it's less, or what?
Fantastic question. Yeah, I'm so happy that something similar got discussed in our board also very recently. Yes, we set up the goals for all the 3 parameters. And being the industry leader, we always felt that we can't go anything below that highest. So yes, every single office building that we're constructing are going for platinum certification from LEED. So yeah, having set those standards and then having delivered successfully 3 towers in very recent past, the comparison of having delivered that and what is actually comparable with our original goals. Was there any gap? Did we supersede our expectations, or did we leave some gap in between? And yes, this is exactly the observation which was found, that in terms of environmental issues, particularly pertaining to energy, as Raman sir has been rightly saying, major focus has always been on energy conservation and optimization of energy utilization. This is where we, in fact, exceeded our original goal set. As I've said, like almost 22% was something which we achieved only using POE, but using very sensitive sensors in all open areas, we could achieve substantially better output out of the critical energy saving on chillers, that is air conditioning system, as Raman sir rightly said. So yes, on energy saving, we achieved much better benefits. In terms of economical viability, yes, we obviously
if you're saving energy, you're saving money.
Yeah,
so that gets done. What about society?
But yeah, in terms of the social commitments, in terms of the specific requirement of the local inhabitants and providing a substantial value add to their life and to their requirement is something which varied from case to case.
Yeah, obviously. I was just about to ask you on
Yes.
that, but it's good you stated, because it'll be based on the relevance of the project, where it's located and whatever. Raman, I'm so sorry I cut you. That wasn't my intent. I wanted you to do the connection between the rating system with the wellness of the building.
So let me put it a very simple way. The rating, I mean, obviously it's a rating right from which is encompassing right from excavation till the life cycle of the building.
Sure.
So everything has an effect. So there is a point system. So every activity has a point. But the major contribution is played by the energy savings. So now whether it's using of the right type of a glass, or it's using a right type of equipments which are more efficient, so it impacts. Ultimately, it is what the energy saving we are looking for. So that is most to do with the gold or platinum rating building. That is a hardware. When you say, US, LEED certification or IGBC certification, so this is which is more prevalent over here. So it is more to do with the hardware of the building. When we say wellness of the building, so well certification, when you are saying new age buildings, we are looking for a well certification. So well certification is more focused towards the occupants of the building.
Yeah.
Now when we say, okay, the water should not be in plastic bottles. So it is to do with the wellness of the people.
Sure.
So there are small measures. So again, it has a framework, and again, it has a rating system by which, that well certification, so there's a similar framework for well certification also. And that's what I'm looking. Now, globally, when I look at the customers, today customers are coming forward and they're looking for buildings, which are well certified, which have a platinum rating or which have a gold rating, in terms of green buildings. So today that is the need also. And that's how, we can actually contribute to the sustainability. So when we're referring to the ESG, then there are issues like, with the corporate social responsibility, where we take the societal impact and all. We do works towards the society, which may be, happening in that area or somewhere else. So that is a separate path. But if you see in this whole exercise, in this whole journey, the regulations also have been moving. Today, if you see CSR, so a particular percentage contribution of the profit has to be put for, it's mandatory.
Sure.
So it's a CSR. So regulation has been also moving. Likewise, as I said, for sustainability, as of now, there is no regulation, but it's coming. It's in a draft stage. So it's going to come. So later or sooner, all of us are going to contribute to it. So
Sure.
today, I may not be, I may be thinking I'm not contributing. I may be contributing in a latent manner.
Yeah.
But eventually, all of us will have to rise up and contribute. Now, whether it is by our own act or by purpose, but it is going to happen. Sustainability is going to be driven deeply. I'll give a very classic case. So places like Denmark, they have, if you do a construction over there, you are given some certain carbon points. So you have to finish your building within those carbon points. So that means some activities you can actually take back, you can replace with them less carbon points, you can take some more. So it's a math. So it is happening at that level. So eventually, at some point of time, it's going to be extended to the other countries. It's not going to stay over there only. So it is started there. So all of us today, the journey is about how we can make this planet safe for the future. And whatever is being done, nobody has actually answer whether this is this is going to work or not. But at least these are the right steps.
True. So that is, I'm going to come to you, Anil. But before that, I just want to interject and say, anybody has time, and you should. We all need to just go on the UN website. There are 2 reports which have been done, which were against the 17 global sustainability design goals which had been set. So they have been researched. There is a 4-year period over which they audit and they review. So there are 2 reports which are available, but the most relevant one is the 2023 report. Please just go read that. The end, if you don't have the time or the patience to read the rest of it because it's quite technical and whatever, you can also skip to the last page where it's the summary. The summary states that we've managed to do nothing. And that if we do not change our approach drastically, okay, our goal setting of, and this is at the global level, so it's not just relevant to us, it takes into account what Denmark is doing. And the Scandinavian countries have the best report on sustainability as such. The worst countries are not us, it's US.
Yes.
It's actually US. So it's surprising. And they are the ones who have not signed on any of the treaties, the Paris treaties, and they've always been walking out. So what I want you to do is just look at that goal setting, because it will give us a perspective of where we stand today. Now, coming to Anil, I know we are all talking about energy. Energy, yes, because it's very easily quantifiable, it's very easily achievable. There are in the industry many stakeholders, right from lighting to electrical pumps and systems to HVAC and whatever. And yes, it's a big consumption pattern. It also, so it directly over a utility life of the building will give you returns. So investment into it is a no-brainer. So energy efficiency is one part. Second is resource efficiency, usage of water,
Correct.
usage of other consumables, and recycling of water. What is the impact on, and your demand impact if you do a reduction on the demand. Also, is there any way of harnessing? Because we used to do a study we looked at stadia and large public building roofs. If you do a roof water harvesting to a tower, it's ridiculous, because you've got a very small catchment area you're trying to do. The facade is 4 to 5 times bigger than the roof area. So if you're only going to rainwater harvest that much, it's not going to meet any requirements.
True.
So yes, recycling, all that. So I'm sure, because we've been talking about it, and I know some projects or the other you would
Yes.
have actively implemented. And if you have some kind of light that you would like to shed as to what impact they had and how you actually quantified it
Yeah.
or
I
measured
would-
it.
Yeah.
Sure.
Because now I'm on the project management side and doing works for others. The first demarcation that has come as a mandate now is even look at the sustainable goals even at construction stage. The amount of water that we waste during our construction phase is also
Yeah.
a big number. Now it is being measured. The electricity that we consume, the wastewater, the whole gamut of it, of how it is being done, apart from what you are talking about on the life cycle of the building or the project. That is become a measurable thing already. And on the dashboards, you start seeing it now. Our dashboards, Power BI actually populates that and puts it into quadrants of saying that what happens.
Wow.
Not that lot of people want to see it. But that is a mandate that has actually opened our eyes to say that yes, there is enough to be done. Going on to buildings, yes, simple things like when we talk about rainwater harvesting or reuse of water, we don't use the water-cooled chillers, the STP water that comes out. Or it's basically because the amount of salt, but there is what you make it work right now is putting more chemicals, which is harmful to the sustainability goal. So definitely there are new technologies that are arriving. Electric dialysis is what it's called, where it separates all the salts and puts it back into it. And small things like this are going to add huge benefits. It's apart from only the energy, which is where we are looking. The other part where we are struggling is water, definitely, which is making it very difficult. So that can be one of the parameters that is going to be measured. Definitely, and it is giving. Right now, I'm doing it for 2 projects, and I can see only in the life cycle analysis it can bring. Because right now you end up importing it from Canada. There is only manufacturing in Canada. You are not able to do it here. Soon, with the volume, it should all change. The other aspect that we spoke about is where a couple of developers whom we are working with have asked for this IoT being used on the systems, especially on your office and commercial buildings, which keeps changing. Right from investment perspective of capital goods to how it changes its mechanism to see that life cycle wise. When the building utility keeps changing with the new people coming on, all that has is a positive sign. I won't say till we see the end result of it, it is successful is when we should gather. We have just started. But that is something where we are calling it digital twinning basically, or it mimics the building
Yes.
and try to use it as and this is a service that we are providing. And till we get the utilization of it, won't be possible to tell, yes, I saved, like how sir is saying, 22% done. So that day it will be successful.
Good. So, yeah.
If you allow me, yeah, he's
Pranav.
put up a very interesting point, yeah, IoT. And very happy to inform that, yes, in one of the most recent commercial tower that we have implemented, we consciously decided to use this digital technologies, and IoT sensors are something which we have very successfully implemented. The sensors have been used for two different purposes. Number one, to immediately detect the specific requirement. For example, this is a hall, and to what extent it's occupied. And based on the occupation level, the air conditioning system takes care of it. In the air conditioning requirement, the lighting requirements are taken care of using the IoT sensors. And these are the only immediate implications. But as you asked one very critical question is that in terms of availability of data points for a period of time,
Correct.
this is where the sensors are helping us a lot. They are giving us a fantastic analysis and data points in terms of how the usage pattern has been, how actually this could be improvised further, and which are the time periods or which are the specific slots during which we can further do substantial optimization of the energy utilization. Because end of the day, as Raman sir rightly said, energy utilization is the key. That is the largest cost and the largest impact, which is measurable at the same time.
Sure. So now we'll come to one which is the actual crux of the matter, which is steel. So we've talked about energy, we've talked about resources. What about material? Now the basic construction material, we find every industry claiming that it's sustainable. Wood says wood is a sustainable material. Aluminum industry says aluminum is sustainable. Steel obviously will say steel is sustainable. But is there any kind of a common quantification which helps you decide which one to use in which context? Because ultimately as a project owner and project developer, your key focus is to get the maximum financial efficiency and maximum profitability of your project. And yes, at that point of time, you will have to decide which is the one which is most appropriate. It may not be the most sustainable in the context of just pure sustainability, but in the context of your project, it makes more sense. So where does that come in, and where does steel feature into that?
So let me take up that first. So before otherwise they will not give me the chance to speak. So, see the choice of material. What we're referring here to